Mr. Giannetis, thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Mr. Pagoulatos, the Special Advisor to the Prime Minister, and he's got a PowerPoint presentation for us.
Thank you. I would like to begin by saying that I understand your concern. You don't trust Greece in delivering. You do not believe that we will make it. And what I will try to show you is some hard facts about not what we are going to do, because one cannot establish credibility on something that is going to happen, but what we have done. So I will try to show you some facts that when I discovered it, I was quite surprised, and I think that you may be also, but they are hard facts, and they're drawn from numbers of international organizations. So one of the main things that are said is that Greece is not adjusting, that the effort that is being made to cut the deficit is not delivering, okay? Now, I have there a graph where you can see, I don't know if you can see the numbers, but this is the fiscal consolidation effort that has taken place in Greece over the last few years. And the primary deficit, which I think is more interesting than the general government deficit, because you can see the actual effort that is being made. The rest, you know, the difference between the general government deficit and the primary deficit is the interest payments. So there you see the progress that has been made in terms of the general government primary deficit. And it started from 25 billion in 2009, and it's now in the area of 5 billion. Okay? Now this, in percentage terms, represents a reduction from 10% of GDP to 2% of GDP. This is an 8% reduction in GDP terms of primary budget deficit in 2 years. Okay? Now, if you look at this second graph, you can see what this means in terms of the cyclically adjusted budget deficit, which is a very important indicator in the Eurozone. This is the structural deficit. Now, if you look at that...
Ms. Pagoulatos,
yes.
Maybe you can tell us what line the color...
I'm sorry, yes, the numbers are not very clear. No. This is, Greece is with the blue color. You can just check, you know, the one that started with the largest deficit, and you have good chances of finding Greece there. So we started from 2009 with a structural deficit of 15.2%. As you see, almost all the deficit in 2009 was structural deficit, okay? Now, 2011, it's 5.3, okay, very close to the levels of Portugal is in red, Germany is in orange or brown, and light blue is the euro area, okay? And the projection for 2012, this is the projection, mind you, of AMECO. AMECO is Commission data, okay? This is the official projection which assumes the results of the PSI, the reduction of the public debt under the private sector involvement. The projection for 2012 is that Greece's structural, cyclically adjusted budget deficit, okay, is at 0.9%, okay? Germany's is at 0.7%, so it's 0.2% above, and the deficit is smaller than the euro area and the Portuguese deficit. Now, as I said, I was as surprised as you are by these numbers, but these are not Greek numbers. These are Commission data, and they show the degree of structural adjustment that is being made, or excuse me, of fiscal adjustment that is being made, if you look at the numbers. Now, what does that mean in terms of the fiscal consolidation effort? I think here you might find the most, if this manages to turn, you might... it's not collaborating very much. Thank you. Here you see, I don't know if you can read the numbers, this is follows the definition of fiscal consolidation by the OECD. You can look at the source, OECD Economic Outlook 81, May 2007. And we have taken, following AMECO data, which is Commission data, we have taken all the fiscal consolidations that one may find in the Western world. Okay? The oldest one is Japan 1981. Okay? And you can see the year it began and the year it ended. Now, Greece is at a total of 8.4% of fiscal consolidation. This is primary budget deficit reduction in 2 years, in the years 2010-2011, which gives us an average per year of 4.2% GDP reduction. I was very surprised, and the Prime Minister was surprised too, when he saw this table, to find out that this is the largest fiscal consolidation that has taken place in the Western world, according to the OECD, to the AMECO data, over the last 30 years. Okay? And if you can find something that is higher than that, please let us know and we will amend the table. But a whole team has been working on that and we haven't been able to do so. Now, I do not exclude that there are countries that have done better. Clearly there are countries that have done better in terms of the total fiscal consolidation. Clearly there are countries that have done far better than we have done in terms of preventing ending up in this miserable state where we started from in 2009. Because we did some fatal mistakes. We failed to control our public debt dynamic. We failed to cut a public debt GDP ratio when the economy was still growing at one of the highest Eurozone rates in the 90s and early 2000s. We did a number of failures. We failed to take advantage of the good times in order to implement structural reforms. We have to do it now under rough times. We have to do this fiscal consolidation with a 15% cumulative recession, which is a mission impossible. And that is why this degree of fiscal consolidation correlates with probably one of the harshest recessions also in this group of countries, okay? So there's a clear correlation between these two, and this is, a result of our own faults. Now, fiscal consolidation is one area, structural adjustment, competitiveness is the other. People say, you'll never make it, you have lost competitiveness, you'll never be able to recover within the euro, why don't you get out? Well, this, first of all, here you see the progress in terms of the current account deficit, which is a solid indicator of competitiveness and the ability of a country to adjust. We started, the blue line represents the current account. The orange line represents the current account excluding oil, and the current account excluding oil and net interest payments is the green line. Now, I'm using this graph is in order to show you that we have a considerable progress in 2 years. 2008, we started from 15% current account deficit. We are now at below 10%, which is progress. It's not what we have wanted. We've wanted much more than that. But if you look at the green line, which is if you subtract interest payments, which have grown considerably over the last 2 years, and the oil, whose prices are sort of have the trend that they tend to exhibit, then you see that the real current account adjustment from 2007, starting from 7%, it is down to 0. So in terms of the current account, if you extract all the rest, you subtract all the rest, we have had a very serious degree of adjustment. Competitiveness recovering. You can see here the unit labor cost based on real effective, sorry, you can't see it, yes, because I haven't turned it. It's the other one, please, the next one. Yes. So real effective exchange rate vis-a-vis the rest of the EU27 based on unit labor cost. This is European Commission data. Between 2009 and 2011, the improvement is in the area of 50%, which means that in 2 years, we have recovered 50% of the competitiveness lost in terms of unit labor cost vis-a-vis EU27, the competitiveness lost between 2001 and 2008, okay? If one looks at the adjustment of competitiveness vis-a-vis the Eurozone countries, then the adjustment is even better because we're not faced with an appreciation of the euro vis-a-vis its trading partners. So the adjustment is solely based on unit labor costs. And because of the reforms that Minister Yannitzis mentioned before, labor markets, wage cuts, etc., there's very significant reform. In fact, we have recovered 2/3, we will have recovered 2/3 or 3/4 by the end of 2012, and by the end of 2013, the projection is that we will have recovered all the competitiveness lost. This is a projection made by the current report of the Bank of Greece, all the competitiveness lost since 2001. Now, can you please move to the previous? This is a table that summarizes all the structural adjustments and other adjustments that have been followed by Greece since 2009. This is a table produced by the Lisbon Council, a think tank which follows economic reforms, Lisbon Agenda economic reforms. On the top position is Estonia, has the best score in terms of external adjustment, fiscal adjustment, and real unit labor cost adjustment, and the second position is Greece. So according to this study, Greece is the second fastest changing economy if one looks at the reforms that have been implemented. Not the best performing economy. I'm not going to claim that. There is serious lags in the degree and the speed with which reforms are being implemented, and there's a low starting point compared to the rest. But Greece is changing faster than probably any other country in the Eurozone. And to demonstrate that, please move to the slide after that. Okay, see, this is the recent report of the OECD, Economic Policy Reforms Going for Growth 2012. It was published about a month ago. The change in overall responsiveness to reform, there's a word missing there. This is the criteria. Overall responsiveness to reform. Greece is at the top position, at the top right position, number one, the country with the highest responsiveness to reform. Again, clearly there's a correlation between the starting point, which was rather low, and the progress that has been made. But this is what we ask you to judge us upon. We never claimed that we were in a good position in 2009, but what we are saying is that over these 2 years, we have done a scope and degree of adjustment that no other European country, Eurozone country, has achieved over the last 2 years. We still have a long way to go, there's no doubt about that. We are now engaged in an extremely demanding program, under which, by the way, passed with a 2/3 majority in Parliament, received 200 votes, an extremely painful program. People were protesting outside the Parliament when it was signed. You might remember the pictures. But we are committed to that as a country, and after this program is completed in 2014, 2015, we will be there, okay? You won't lose your money. And finally, if you can move to the final graph, it is often said Greeks are not working enough, lazy, blah, blah. Unfortunately, we are the hardest working in the OECD. We're back there with 2017 hours, total hours, it's annual total hours worked per person and productivity per hour. The blue is total hours worked, 2017. I would personally wish I was Dutch, because I would have the lowest number of working hours, but I would be among the most productive. So it would be a trade-off I would wish to subscribe to. Thank you.
There's still a nice combination to make, a lot of hours and a high productivity, I think. Thank you very much. Does Mr. Ambassador want to add some more information, or? No, I think it's okay, thank you very much.